Hello everybody, this is Khashar. Welcome to another tutorial on Pygame, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create your own animator class. So all the files and the setup is the same. We have our settings which we use in previous video on the rotator. In assets we as you remember we load this image in the last episode, and the main function is the main file is the same as previous, but I just remove the rotator class. For animation, normally we are going to deal with more than one image. So in assets, how we load our image, it won't be so correct way to do it. So, for example, let me show you here. Here we have 21 images, and imagine we want to load all of them line by line, so we will have like 21 lines, which is kind of not a good way of doing it. So when we are going to create an animation effect, we need to take care of a couple of things. First thing is we have to load all the images, put them in the list, and after iterate through that list and do certain operation on each image. So our first job is take care of the loading part, and let's create a list here. I call it monster animation, which is a list, and we just contain the list of contain the image of our monster. So every time we need to do something more than 1, 2, 3 times, it means we should use some sort of loop, for loop or while loop, or really doesn't matter, depends on the situation, but most of the time we are going to use for loop. So here we have, let's say, one more time, 1, 2, 3, it's 22. All right, it's 21 image, which with this one is 23. Okay, it's 23 image. So we say for I in range 23, and we have our image name, which we should have it like this, that we can have access to it, right? But we can't put like image monster image 1, monster image 2. So because of that, we are going to create a variable image name equal, we come back here, normally this is how I do it, rename, and I copy the image name here, and when all of them are in the same sequence, and most of the time when you are downloading an image which contains the animation, or you're going to create your own animation by Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, you just name them in this way, which is make it more easier to access and work with in when you want to have animation. Okay, yeah, here the image name equal the name of the image which we want to load, but the thing is we are going to increment the I, so we remove the last 0 and we use format here. We use format and dot format I. So what this do is taking it's setting this name to this image name, like and it's taking the I and format it as a number, so it will be tentacle ding 001, tentacle ding 002. All right, so it will we will have the same name accessible from our for our code. And here we say image name, which we already changed it to this name with format function, equal. Now we can use our Pygame image load command. So Pygame dot image dot load. Actually, let's copy this line from up. I copy from here, and we can use it here. So we load our image. We just change this to this, and we do the same thing here. Means we use our format. .png .format I. So actually we are calling the real image on the hard drive or your destination, and the only thing is here that we need to take care of these two parentheses. I think it should do it, but when we run the code now, we will have some index problem. Let me show you what will happen when we run it now. Yeah, it's right, no such file or directory because line 12, and the reason for that is this number is increasing it to 23, but we have only one I format. So when the number goes higher than 9 and will 10, it will put another 0 here, and it make it that 40 at the end of the file. But originally we have only 30 here. So after number 9 it will be 10, and it will go one digit back to the left and will make it 10. So that this is very easy to fix. So the only thing we need to do is we say if I smaller than 10, then use this sequence, and after if I is greater than 10, which continue to 99. If we have more image, which mostly you don't need more than 99 frame for image, and so we just do the same thing here. So let's write it down this time. The image name equal will be a Pygame dot image dot load os dot path dot join, and here we have our image directory. And again, now the only difference will be that when we copy this line here, instead of using format for last digit, we use the format for last 2 digits, and after that convert alpha, and at the end of the for loops and end of both if statements, we just append the image name to this monster animation list. So monster animation that append image name. So this is one-time operation. When you load the game or run the game for the first time, it will check the assets, it will run this for loop, and take care of the image only once. And let me check if everything is working. Alright, we don't have any problem. It means it's run the for loop, it's load the image, and all the images now are available in monster animation. So this is the first part, and the second part is the animator class itself. So we are done with settings. We didn't do anything with settings. We're done with the assets. Now we go to main, And main also we still have all the container class here, all the sprites which we use it for the same with the same purpose, for the same purpose that we used in the last tutorial. So we create our class here. So class animator, again pygame.sprite, define our constructor self, and here will be again the same, like x and y, width and height, and the image. Or in fact, let's don't use the image here. We can do it later, or you can do it later, because I want to show you how to use your the first image and how to blitz it and correctly. All right. So here we have self.x equal x, same as before. Self.width equal width. Self.height equal height. And here self.image equal monster animation 0, because for the for initialize the image we need to have access to the first image of the list, all right, before we even begin to animate the image. So it will be monster animation 0, the first element of the list. And here we have self.image equal pygame.transform.scale. Self.image, we are going to scale it to this width and height. It means when you are creating your instance from this class, you can change the width and height there. So whatever width and height you choose, 32, 64, or any pixel that you put it there, this line of code will change it according to your width and height. And the next line will be self.rect equal self.image.get rect, and self.rect.top left equal self.x and self.y. You can use also self.rect.center, but because when you are going to deal with your platformer, normally it's better to use top left for placing your image on the screen, because when you use rect.center later, when you're dealing with too many tiles, the calculation will be very messy, and you probably will be mistake somewhere. So what we need to have now, we need to almost same as the rotator class, we need to have the last animation update or last update. So self.last animation update, we use pygame.time.get ticks. And let's create an instance from this class, see everything is okay. So let's write here let's make this way, like object or monster equal animator, and will be again 100 and 100, and we can make it a little bit bigger, or something like 128 pixel. and here all the sprites dot add monster. We should have image of the monster on the screen, that we don't. Animator has no attribute sprite. Where? Oh yeah, I forgot to use the super class. Yeah, my bad. So super dot init. Okay, this is our flying monster. Okay, now when we come to our file, we have to think of each image as a frame. Like this is frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. So our frame, we need to have also one attributes for representing our frame. So self.frame equal, and it should be equal at the length of this list. Shouldn't be more, or can be less than your image, all your image, but can't be more because you will have index error later on. So the self.frame equal the length of monster animation. So we can be sure it won't be more than that. This way. And the same, self.speed will be the 20, and as I said before, this will work reverse, and when the number is down or lower, you lower the number, the speed is going up. And that's it. Now here define update self, and for now pass, and here define, I call it the animation. Define animation. The reason why I'm changing them is it's sometimes you can have access separately to one of your methods instead of just put everything on the shoulder of sprite update. You can write your own switches here, and like for example, when you want to, if I write directly the animation sequence or algorithm here on update, as long as I use a sprite.update here, it will run. But maybe there is a situation I don't want to do it, so it's better to separate this and use the different method, and after call that method from the update method. At least this is how I am doing it. So here it's same, almost same as the rotator. So if, but first thing we need to know, like, where are we in our frame? If we are higher than the frame what we have, like we have 22 pictures on your list. If we are go to 23 or 24, it will crash and we will have that index error. So we have to make sure we are not higher than that number. So if self.frame is greater than equal the length of the monster animation, then self.frame equals 0. So we check first where are we in our frame, and if we are go over than 23, which is the length of our monster animation list, we just set it back to 0, like the animation start from the frame number 0. So this goes for that. And now equal pygame dot time dot get ticks, same as the rotator. Now here we just check if now minus self dot last animation update is bigger than self.speed. That's why I said the speed, when the speed go up, the animation speed going down. And then when this number, now the time now is minus, when we minus it from self.last animation update, and it's greater than self.speed, then what we need to do is self.image equal monster animation self.frame. So it means every time we change the time here, like every 20 milliseconds, it's going to set the image to monster animation self.frame. And self.frame here with any number can be 0, or can be any number in between 0 and 23, right? And after self.image equal again pygame.transform.scale self.image self.width and self.height, we scale the image, and after self.frame plus equal 1, we go 1 frame up. And now here self.last animation update equal now, and we reset the time. So this can give us the animation what we need, and here I call the animation method self.animation. Line 25, define animation. Oh, I forgot to. All right. Okay, when takes 0 position was one given. All right, I forgot self. This is what happened when you're talking code at the same time. All right, as you see here is our monster. Nice and smooth animation. The smoothness of the animation mostly depends on how many frame or how many pictures you have in your list. And the higher the picture, the smoother the animation. Now, for example, here about the speed, when I change the speed to 30, slower, or let's make it like 60, very slow. And when I change it to 10, okay. And also one thing we can do is to let's come down here, monster dot rect dot top left, or here we can use monster dot rect dot center. Oh, let's now rect dot center 0 equal x, and monster dot rect dot center 1 equal y. And this is, I mean, this, like, we given the position of the our object to the mouse, so we can control it with mouse. And tuple object, no, to the assignment. Oh yeah, okay. Then what we can do, oh sorry, my bad, it should be like this, monster dot rect dot center equal x and y. Oh no, the Pygame rate object not with this. Oh, center, not scepter. Huh. Center. Yeah, here you can use your image with mouse. And another funny thing that you can do is, actually this don't have to be in your class, but you can actually expand your class. So for example, you can use the image here and make different variables. That's any image, you set the image here to your object, and you animate your image, but you have to be careful with your the naming here, monster image, and you should work a little bit more for achieving that goal. And here what I want to do is I put a couple of more attributes here. So self dot minimum width size equals 16 pixel, self dot minimum height size will be 16, and self dot maximum width size equal 256, and self dot maximum height size equal 256. And I am going to create a switch here, self dot auto resize switch equal true. And the reason for this is I'm going to make the monster or flying monster also change the scale. So and you can create some sort of impression of the depth to your game. I will show you shortly here. Define. Let's make a create a method here. We call it auto resize self, and here if self dot auto resize switch is true, then actually I know we can use this if self dot auto resize switch, but it's just habit. I like to have this true or false here. And if self dot width and self dot height, because I want to resize it in height and width in the same time, is equal or is greater or equal than self dot max width size. You don't need to use both of them here because both are same. It's 32 by 32, unless if you want to have different scale for width and height. And self dot width equal self dot minimum width size, and here self dot height equal self dot minimum height size. Else will be self dot width plus equal 1 and self dot height plus equal 1. And now when we actually I guess I think it's something like this. If I okay, no, okay, and now we should have a very small for loop here. We can say for, actually we don't need to have for loop. Auto resize. I guess I have to use this self.animation and self.auto resize. We use it here. We call it from our update. It should do. Yeah. Like our monster is flying from far, coming to the screen, and boom. So this is kind of playing with Pygame, and but by now we know how to load too many images and use the list, and you can use this for loop, this small I don't call it algorithm, it's small sequence here, and also the class animator can be useful, and you can actually like you can combine it with rotator or different stuff that it depends on your imagination. And so that's it for today, and I hope you like this video and it's kind of useful. And as always, if you like my video, please subscribe, and I see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.